Why would you do this knowing that 17% of the population is just annoyed as fuck?
Wow. Smart girl. Dumb questions. So at the end of every episode of Smart Girl Dumb Questions, I ask my guests what they're dumb about. And it is my favorite part of the episode because it is such an escape from our know-it-all culture. And by that, I mean this world where we're just supposed to know everything at every minute, whether it's that fancy foreign language item on our menu or an acronym in the culture wars. We're supposed to know what it means and have a point of view like that. We have become so trained to ask our questions in the privacy of our ChatGPTs or Googles that we no longer ask them out loud anymore. So all of a sudden, everyone is a know-it-all, whether you're a coastal elite professor or an aunt in Ohio or an underemployed DJ on Raya. Sorry, Joey, I had a great time. Call me. The world is abundant in information at our fingertips and overly confident hot takes. But what's scarce, I think, is asking questions and saying, I do not know. So in this investigative mini-series, I'll go and find the answers to things people like Mark Cuban, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Cleo Abram, Tamsin Fidel, and my Gen Alpha guests, Sophie and Dylan, do not know. Welcome to CSI Dumb Questions, where the dumbest thing you can be is a know-it-all. All right, here I am wearing this Olivia Benson pantsuit. And I know I'm mixing metaphors here, guys, but bear with me. We're having fun. So Mark Cuban, noted billionaire, Shark Tank guru, someone who people turn to for advice. What is he dumb about? I asked him, and this is what I learned. Yeah, what is Mark Cuban dumb about?
Why do people chew with their mouths open?
Just show us what it would look like, chewing with your...
No. That is my ultimate pet peeve.
You know, mission accepted, Mark. I'm going to find these answers for you. I'm going to find the answers to these questions.
I don't know why, but I do know from a thing I got from...
Wait, are you going to tell me you know about the thing you're dumb about?
No.
Okay, good.
I can have one smidgen of,
Yes,
of information, right? I can have a data point.
Tell me.
I have a data point.
Okay, what's your data point?
Data point is that 17% of people are annoyed by people eating with their mouths open.
I am in the super 17%.
Oh my God.
I am like, that's like a no second date situation for me.
One of my best friends, I will not go out to dinner with him. I'll go drinking. I'll do whatever.
So you want to know, why do some people chew with their mouth open? Yeah.
Why would you do this knowing that 17% of the population is just annoyed as fuck?
So Mark's question sent me on a mission down a rabbit hole of like wild open mouth chewing videos and ASMR and scholarly articles. And this newspaper article that I finally found from 2022, and it's from The Telegraph, a British publication, with a shocking headline: Why you should ditch table manners and eat with your mouth open. I mean, guys, are you even English anymore? Now, their source for this is a University of Oxford professor. So we went across the pond, virtually, via Zoom, and met Dr. Charles Spence. He was chewing, of course. I appreciate, by the way, that you're chewing, that you're eating while we're doing this, just so that when Mark listens to this, he'll be particularly annoyed. Professor Charles Spence, thank you for being with me.
It's a pleasure.
In a moment, we're going to ask Mark Cuban's question to you. But before we do that, could you just introduce yourself?
My name is Professor Charles Spence. I'm head of the Cross-Modal Research Laboratory at Oxford University, a gastrophysicist, interested in the senses and how what we see, hear, touch, taste, and smell affects what we like to eat and how much we enjoy the experience.
So first, maybe explain what misophonia is.
Misophonia is a kind of a recently invented name for a condition that affects some percentage of the population who tend to get very irritated by the sound of other people, especially eating. And that can trigger a kind of a rage, uncontrolled emotional response in those who experience it. And you might think of it as kind of, the opposite of ASMR, kind of the autonomous sensory meridian response, where people very often get great pleasure about hearing other people whispering and crinkling paper. So these are two extreme responses to, in particular, close sounds, and in the misophonia case, it really is the sounds of chewing. Sort of remember being a kid and always being irritated dining at the family dinner table that my parents would have their mouth open. I didn't want to take any physical action. It just kind of irritated me quietly, passively. Maybe that's the English response.
Yes. So now, why would people do this? Why would people chew with their mouth open? Your research provides a very compelling reason why people might do this.
So Mark probably doesn't want to go to a professional wine tasting or coffee cupping, because if he does, he'll get very upset with all the slurping that goes on there. If you go to over in Asia, then there are cultures where lip smacking and slurping are a sign of your approval of the food that you have eaten. And not doing that would be rude by itself, to eat quietly and silently. And so if we were given these sort of things, we did a study a few years ago with a chef in London, Joseph Youssef, having people consume a soup either with their mouth closed or with their mouth open, making a slurping sound or not. And we too found that those who slurped, being English, they felt a bit self-conscious about it, but they did enjoy the taste of their soup more than those who were forced to eat in silence.
And this is also what you found with chewing as well.
If you chew a potato chip, crunch it with your mouth closed, then all you're getting is bone-conducted sound. Bite into something crispy or crunchy or crackly or with snap with your mouth open, then you'll get both the bone-conducted sound, which is a bit dull, really, but also the air-conducted sound going out from the front of your mouth, round to your ears, through the air, and that will give you an enhanced enjoyment through the sort of sonic texture that you get, and that you get much better with your mouth open than with your mouth closed.
And that's the sonic texture, so that's in the sound of the chewing. And then in terms of the aromatic? As
we sort of masticate food, chew it in our mouth, then we're sort of breaking down structures in the food in our mouth. We're releasing volatiles, they're mixing with the saliva, all sorts of stuff going on. I mean, our mouth can only tell us about sweet, salty, bitter, sour, and umami, the basic tastes, which is pretty boring. Is what comes out of the back of our noses through chewing, and especially with our mouth open, is all the rich volatiles that give us the meaty, the floral, the creamy, the herbal, the burnt, all those kind of things that we know and love in food. Our favourite flavours or tastes are actually volatiles that are coming out of the back of the nose, and that to get the most of that air, most of those volatiles out through the back of your nose, you need to have your mouth open.
All right. So how do you kind of square this, what's reportedly 1 out of 5 people who struggle with misophonia versus the joy that we could have with chewing with our mouths open?
One might be just careful who one dines with, as I think we heard in the clip a little bit earlier on, and maybe sort of educating people to change their attitude in a way.
Do you ever worry, I mean, you're an Englishman, that you're kind of ruling yourself out from being knighted by the king because you are taking down English etiquette?
Well, yeah, certainly. If you caught me at a high table in Somerville College where I teach, then I probably would be eating with my mouth closed, despite what I just said.
Hypocrisy. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Spence.
Thank you.
Okay, well, now we know, guys, that chewing with your mouth open can make things yummier because it sounds better, it smells better, and therefore it tastes better. I mean, I'm shocked. And I don't know now if I will all of a sudden think that chewing with your mouth open is like a sign of emboldenment, a sign of like being powerful, actually, because you don't give a fuck what society thinks. You just want your food to taste really good. And that's kind of hot. That's kind of like being a maximal foodie. Having cracked the code on the whole open mouth chewing thing, I'm ready for my next dumb question. And this one comes from Neil deGrasse Tyson. What is Neil deGrasse Tyson dumb about, if anything?
Oh, anytime I'm in the company of someone who knows anything that I don't know, that's all I want to talk about. Let's say it's a construction worker, okay? Yeah. How did they get the crane to the top of the building?
How did they get the crane?
There's a crane at the top. I didn't see them put it up there. It's 50 stories up. There's a crane there.
I love that this astrophysicist had a question for a construction worker. And thankfully, I live in New York City, so I can just go outside and find the answer. But that's to be continued on the next CSI Dumb Questions. In the meantime, if you want to know all the things Mark Cuban does know, you can get my full Smart Girl Dumb Questions hour with Mark at the link below. We talk about capitalism, why healthcare sucks, and what it's like to be so damn rich. I'll be back next week with a fresh episode of Smart Girl Dumb Questions. Find us on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and hit subscribe or follow. If you have dumb questions and want me to find the answer, you can email me at naeemaraza1 smartgirl101@gmail.com. And I want to say a big thanks to the wonderful Holly Thiel, my partner in crime on this episode, for editing and animating this video.